gold, it's called the bionic, the bomb, the puff, the blow, the black, the herb, the sensi, the chronic, the sweet Mary Jane, ganja, spliff, reefer, the bad, the Buddha, the homegrown, the ill, the Maui Maui, the method, pop, lethal, turbo, tie, shake, skunk, stress, wacky, weed, blaze, the boot, dime bag, Scooby-Doo, Bob, bogey, backyard boogie.
That's yes.
And that's Sasha.
And we are live on Adobe Radio on a Monday. I sound so far away because I am far away. I am on the East Coast today, and TS is holding it down on the West Side, keeping it groovy. And I don't even have a mic stand. I'm holding my microphone like a goddamn podcaster. And I've always wanted to do this. And yeah, we are we will always be here. We have been doing the show for like 7 years, weekly. We rarely miss a week. It is our favorite place to be in the whole fucking world. We don't care if we are in other countries. Like, we will make it happen. And that is the beauty of the Cool Nerd Weed Show. So find us everywhere. You can find us on YouTube. Our YouTube is popping. We're on Adobe's everything, Adobe Radio. While you're there, listen to the rest of Adobe Radio's goodness. And you can find us on Instagram. We will answer your DMs. We might be shadow banned, but we might not be shadow banned. We don't know. We don't know. Every day is a new day.
It's hard to tell.
It is. Sometimes hard to tell. You want to see what I'm smoking out of?
Oh, yeah. What do you got?
I have a little, what do you call this?
A chillum?
A chillum, yeah.
That looks like some nice glass. It's like thick.
I don't even know where I got this. Where did I get this? I don't even know. I actually have no idea.
Did you pick it up at one of your local
I must
cannabis
have.
dispensaries in
I must have, because
on the
how
East
was this
Coast?
traveling? Yeah, this must have been picked up at a local cannabis dispensary here on the East Coast, in which it is legal in New Jersey. And I have some delicious flowers. My mom is really obsessed with this brand Clade 9 out here. They sell it in the Cookies dispensary, and she's been talking it up for weeks now. So she's really excited about that. I'm really excited about that too, and I'm going to smoke out of a chillum like I am in college. Or no, college is bongs. Chillums are for your 20s and your 30s because you're traveling, and like that's when I started smoking out of chillums and one hitters, is when I hit like my 20s and 30s, because you're walking around.
Yeah, I graduated to the chillum after my little one-hitter bat, my little ceramic cigarette bat.
We were talking about the bat. Oh, yeah, go for it.
I am smoking on this top shelf cultivations. I have found the last of the sour cupcake.
Nice. Sour cupcake is so good. I really, really, really like that strain.
That's the sour flavor really comes through. I think its descendants are sour sage and something else. It's hard to tell, but that sour notes come through, and I think I'm going to take a little bong rip.
Oh, I support that completely, totally, and truly. We used to have regular bong rips on our older shows, and we are remote, so we do get to smoke in our own studios. We get to we get to do what we want. But that means we'll probably be shadow banned. So, but we are going back to our glass days. Smoking out of glass is so different, though. I really have grown to love smoking out of joints. But this is really great for if your state just went recreational and you are on the go and you want to just smoke a little bit, not do a whole joint. People are still complaining about the smell. People are still all crazy, all stigmas, and you got this little bad boy in your back pocket or your purse or even your bra, wherever you want to put it. Don't put it in your bra, it might hurt, but wherever, put it anywhere.
And I like your PSA about not putting it in your bra.
Yeah, I thought about it because you just stuff in there, but it. I thought about it and do as Do as I say, not as I do. So yeah, just a trigger warning. This show is going to be political again. It's just that time of year. It's that time of life. We have a big election coming up. And last week, we talked about a lot of things. We talked about Florida, and we talked about Donald Trump in relation to Florida and in relation to his policy on weed. And we're going to continue that discussion. We're probably going to be all like 100% politics today, but it's okay. It's okay. It's necessary. I'm just giving you a trigger warning, and I'm not going to get all angry again like I did and always do. We're just going to be straight forward news.
Non-partisan.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, but yes.
Unbiased opinions.
Yeah, for sure. But this is something that we did want to touch on because when Donald Trump came out with his big, bold statement on weed, we did talk about it. Like, we talked about our suspicions and whatever a little bit last week, but I do want to go into it a little bit more, how, and I want you to do it, like how he met with the head of Trulieve, or didn't he? Was that him? Before he made a statement. So yeah, just kind of like talk about that really quick. Just because it relates to the next thing that we're gonna go into.
In the days before Donald Trump announcing his support for legalization of cannabis federally, Donald Trump, and also endorsing Amendment 3 in Florida, Donald Trump met with the CEO of Trulieve, one of the biggest producers of cannabis in Florida.
If not
basically
the only.
Oh yeah, there's
almost the only. There's like 3.
Almost, there's hardly any. There's a handful of cannabis producers in Florida. So Donald Trump meets with the largest one, and suddenly he endorses. Suddenly, Donald Trump endorses cannabis legalization and goes on record with his support of Amendment 3 in Florida.
And it's important to note in Florida, like that's, that matters to us and this story because it just does.
Donald Trump resides in Florida. He has his businesses. He has Mar-a-Lago in Florida.
Yeah.
I believe he sees the dollars and cents of it all, if he thinks at all about cannabis.
And in general.
And generally
if
speaking.
He thinks at all. Well, yeah, so
after meeting with Trulieve, he seemed to have a change of heart from his actual 4-year reign of terror from 2016 to 2020. So when Donald Trump actually...
And just to note something, also, I'm noting a lot of things today. Just a little aside that I would like to point out that I don't think Donald Trump is smart enough to actually feel that weed should be outlawed. I don't think he knows I don't think he knows what the actual stigma is. I think the people around him are the people who truly, like the Ron DeSantis's of the world, and the people who are, writing Project 2025. All those people who he surrounds himself with, and during the administration, when he was the president, God save us, I feel like people would ask him, and that's why I was always like, I feel like he's going to legalize it, and he'd be like, no, whatever. Like, I don't know that he understands that the people around him hate it so much. So his policies that he put forth when he was president, that the GOP put forth against cannabis, really making it even worse of a stigma. I feel like he was like, yeah, whatever. Do whatever you want. If it's against weed, it's against weed. Big fucking deal. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's not like, we're going to talk about a president later who vocally started the war on drugs and had like actual impact in his own way. I don't like to give Trump the credit of the person being like against drugs. I just feel like he was like, whatever you guys want to do. I didn't even read the the law in the first place. So that's just something I wanted to say. Like, it's not like he's like, I reversed my position. I just feel like he's like, drugs when they work in my favor are good. So that was just my little note.
Well, yeah, it's whichever way the wind is blowing with Donald Trump. I feel like his opinions are swayed easily, and
because he doesn't know what he's talking about ever. So
no.
Yeah.
I know a tremendous amount about cannabis. We're gonna have a great plan. That's
whatever
my
he
Trump.
even said. Yeah, that was a good
whatever
one.
the fuck he even says. So we've been, the Democrats and Republicans have both fired back on Trump's stance on cannabis and what they truly believe is his opinion, and he generally, AOC fired back. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat, New York. Ocasio-Cortez. Yes, she fired back and has been an advocate for ending federal prohibition, and said that the former president's policy pivot sounds like a Hail Mary to me.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, we thought maybe that's. Well, we didn't think maybe. We thought for sure that that's what it was going to be. It just sounds, and the way he was talking about it, just kind of saying the same stuff that, like, be in jail for things that are legal, blah blah blah. Like, he said those things, but at the same time, the things that he's advocating for in Florida still make the plant kind of illegal in some ways. So it's a very restrictive amendment, and it really only works to benefit big companies and big corporations as usual. So yeah, he can say, and that's the thing that bums me out about the Florida sitch, is that, like, he can say I'm for it, and we can call him on his BS, but at the end of the day, if this gets passed and into the Constitution of Florida, then these things that are so restrictive when it comes to legalizing weed will be in place, and he'll have something to do with that. And that makes me sad.
Yes. And he's just catering to big cannabis and big corporations, which is business as usual for Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's it's horrible. It makes me sad too. Let's see. Representative Andy Harris, Republican from Maryland, who has been anti-cannabis. He's been blocking DC's legalizing cannabis sales. Basically shrugged it off. He says he doesn't think anything about it. He doesn't think it's anything, and it's just campaign talk. So even your own party's calling you out.
Yeah, well, I hate to say it, and I don't like to say it about a Republican, but he's right. It is just, and honestly, like, I don't know how the fuck Donald Trump will vote in his world, but, like, obviously I think he's truly for this amendment because it will benefit the monies and his monies, and, like, but he's not for the end of cannabis prohibition. Like, let's be clear. He may be for recreational use cannabis, but he's not for prohibition, the end of prohibition, and he's not for reform of anything, let alone weed. Like, he's like, and this isn't us being, like, picky. Like, we're not picking on him with this because it's him, and we just, whatever he does, because I saw an op-ed on Marijuana Moment that was like, Harris and Trump being for, when they agree on things, that's how you know weed is too mainstream or something like that. And it's like, no, weed should be mainstream, even though we take pride in it being not mainstream. It should be. It shouldn't be this. It should never have been. So like, yeah, okay, great stance, awesome. wow, like like way to like get with the times. Okay, cool. You're for for legalization of recreational weed, yes, but he is not. He doesn't give a fuck about
But
ending any sort of unfair treatment that anybody got from cannabis reform, like most other policymakers who do, or like previous policymakers who have wanted the legalization of weed to benefit the people as well as business owners. What, we want people to go poor? Of course we want business owners to, like, that's been our dream, is to have all of the people who believe in weed and grow good weed be able to do it and to make money cleanly off of it. I don't remember him supporting any banking law. I think we talked about that last week. I remember vehemently no banking law was being passed. They would keep on writing it, and they'd keep on writing it. Good old C shooms, and it wouldn't go anywhere. And Chuck would be like, "God damn."
The Safer Act, the all of the acts just
All of the
didn't go
acts.
through. All of the acts didn't go through for the 4 years that Donald Trump was in office
Mhm.
during his reign of terror.
You're singing calling terror.
On the American people. It was in fact, Donald Trump appointed people that were anti-cannabis,
He did.
rolled back many of the Obama policies
Yeah.
and then that we're trying to open up cannabis and
Also, don't
give it to the
forget,
state.
don't forget too, like, these people who were anti-cannabis, they probably are helping him set up for, if he was going to do any cannabis reform across, a sweeping cannabis reform, they're probably just all setting it up to be just like it is in Florida, where it's state-run weed and it's going to be like mid to crappy level weed, so it's not even going to provide any leaf. You can't even do anything. It's a very restrictive amendment, and there's no social equity. There's nobody who is in jail who may have a chance of being expunged, right? Or did we find out we were wrong about that?
I didn't see any social equity in there.
I think we looked. I think
But there was-
we looked, and if we're mistaken, please let us know. But we tried to dissect that amendment, and I didn't see anything about expunging at all. And that was really. And then I thought I saw it when we looked again, but I didn't see it the last time we checked. So if that is incorrect, let me know. But I doubt it. I doubt they give a fuck about anybody who's in prison because of weed. So if the first and foremost thing that they care about is you not having it in the state packaging that you get it in, then they're not caring about the people who are sitting in jail incorrectly for weed. So we're not being Sour Patch Kids. I think we're being realistic.
We should make a run of Garbage Pail Bus.
Yeah, we should. That would be really cool visuals. We are Garbage Pail Kids. That I will admit to. We got to think of funny names for ourselves. I'm bad at those. We should ask Fish. He's good at stuff like that. But yeah, anyways, it the AOC came out very officially, and that Maryland fucking guy. These are two people who are for and against, respectively, and they both think it's a bunch of bull jazz and that it's not going to amount to any actual reform. It maybe Florida will, maybe this amendment will go through, maybe blah blah blah, but it certainly does not seem like he's truly flipped any, turned any weed leaves over, and now he is going to be, supporting small cannabis businesses.
Suddenly, he's very supportive after meeting with the CEO of TrueLeave.
Yeah.
And, probably a handshake deal that will create a monopoly if Amendment 3 goes through. Will definitely create a monopoly in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
And, it's it doesn't do anything for the cannabis community as a whole.
No.
And it just gives all of the power of cannabis sales to like 3 or 4 major players in Florida.
Right. And really part of legalization and making weed recreational, part of it is so that there is a healthy competition. That's like isn't that like the whole part of everything that we do here is
Isn't
healthy competition? Like I mean, it doesn't seem like it if you really look at it from the outside. There's like it's not. It's a lie. But at least the facade of of healthy competitive capitalism is what we say we are we want to do, even though where do you go get your things when you need it? Probably Amazon, or like him being Donald Trump being for cannabis reform for the right reasons is like if you met with like Jeff Bezos and you were like, oh yeah, I want to start supporting Etsy, like small Etsy shops again. You know what I mean? Like, they're so far from like actual reality of what reform is and what improving our like cannabis economy is. These people are so beyond that. The True Leaf people, the Donald Trump people, Donald Trump himself, they don't know what doing the right thing means. And I mean that not even to be an asshole about it. They like corporations and big ones especially, they simply just don't know. They physically do not see that far down. So equity and fair and competitive means nothing, Like I thought I was bummed out about like the California taxes and all that stuff. That was bumming me out. The compassion was kind of gone, but this bums me out even more. Donald Trump and Florida cannabis has made me more sad than any other because the way it's being done is so grody to the max. And I'm trying to find good things, but we all know what his number is, and we all know what he plans to do with everything, including cannabis. So yeah,
it
doesn't make me feel good.
It doesn't make me feel good either. It doesn't give anybody in the legacy market in Florida a chance to come above board and probably produce pretty fine cannabis. It doesn't
Totally.
give. It's just you're just handing your people at the top, the 1%, the true leaves of the world. You're handing them just bags and bags of cash, essentially.
It's too bad. It's a shame.
Also, there was one other thing that I wanted to talk about regarding Amendment 3 was that it gives immunity to big corporate cannabis in the regards to workers' rights and safety. Also, product. It releases the liability in case they actually put out a bad product. They're not liable. They have immunity.
Wait, how?
It was one of.
Yeah, I kind of remember. We like. How is that possible?
I don't know, but it's in there.
That doesn't seem right.
It doesn't seem right at all.
Regulation is that they should follow regulatory practices.
Yeah, like OSHA. If you're working for big cannabis, and if you're a consumer, there's what if you get some moldy bud from True Leaf and it makes you sick?
With pesticides in it,
or something. Yeah, exactly. There's a pesticide that went through, whether it's banned or not banned. Or they're not liable for any health repercussions that may affect you.
That is crap.
Total crap.
That's like, not to keep dropping. That's big corporation level crap. I don't want to say anything bad about anybody, but that is big corporation level badness when you don't claim liability for anything that is harmful. That's the definition of a soulless corporation. I don't make the rules. I don't. That just is. That's what it. Like that's what it is. It's just gross practices. So we don't like when that comes into our sphere. So that's where we get a little sad, and that's why we do the show, because we literally just want you to know about it, and we want you to know why maybe we're a little cranky sometimes, and why maybe we get a little angry sometimes, because weed is our baby, and it's like what helps us be TS and I, and not in, any sort of like I need to smoke way, but just the idea of weed is very important to us, and the idea of access to weed is very important to us. Studying it, finding out, what it can do and what it shouldn't do, which is also important. We can't do any of those things if prohibitive practices are still in place, and if they get worse under big corporations, we just have words to say about it,
Let me just say that Biden and Harris have been on board with cannabis reform and have gone on record and are trying to make things happen. Also, Harris and Walz are on board with cannabis reform and are going to try to make things happen. So you should get out there and register to vote. If you are not registered, go to vote.org and register. Make sure you're registered. Check your registration. It's not too late.
No, it's not even.
Get out there and vote.
Yeah, it's not like do it now. The Adobe app and Adobe.com also has a big old banner right there. So if you're listening to us on one of those things, just click onto it and it'll take you where you need to go. It's easier than ever. You can mail in that shit, which is what I'm going to do. And just vote now, vote early. Vote whenever you fucking can, especially now. Do your research, but that's why we're here. That's why we're here for your weed research. We are here to give you. We're here to break it down. And then you can do what you'd like with the information, but all you got to do is something. Okay, we're gonna take a break, and then we're gonna come back and talk about Richard Nixon, everybody's favorite thing to talk about. We'll be right back.
Gummies, 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 I got gummies. Do you want some gummies? It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show.
And we're back. It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show.
We're back. And that's Sasha.
And we're live on Adobe Radio. And listen to us everywhere at all times. Find us, just type in Cool Nerd Weed Show in Google's or your web browser of some sort, and you'll find us. You go to adobe.com, find us there on the app. You can find us in all other places like YouTube and Instagram. Also, we are everywhere. We're omnipresent. And this time we are talking about drugs and the politics. The government and drugs. They go hand in hand. And we know that, at least with cannabis, it has been stigmatized for quite a while, but we really can draw a direct and definite pinpoint on when we started using the term war on drugs, right?
Yeah, it was in 1971 during a press conference with Richard Nixon, aka Tricky Dicky. He declared the war on drugs, and it was public enemy number one. And in order to fight and defeat this enemy, it is necessary to wage a new and all offensive. So that was the beginning of the war on drugs, and the war on people was started by Richard Nixon. And now there's some new tapes, because Richard Nixon tape recorded everything in the Oval Office.
Yeah, which definitely got him into
some
sticky stitches.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, let's
Watergate,
not gloss over how big of a deal drug prohibition was during the Nixon administration. This was like something they campaigned on, and it was also something that they made clear in so many words, not like literally, but so many words, that they were waging a war on drugs, and it in turn is a war on people of color. And that is what was extremely prominent in the late 60s and the 70s. They needed a thing to be able to point to and say, hey, we said this was illegal. And it was, Richard Nixon famously doesn't like hippies either, but it was a war on people of color. And it was, the amount of time it took to get people to get people who were anti-drug to unite against cannabis and people of color, and the amount of time it took to regress was astounding back then, if you read about it. And it was something that was pretty sickening. It was something that started things that are still in place now, and it's what we're trying to get away from. It was a period of time where where it was very scary to be pro cannabis, and as always, it's a scary time to be a person of color. So this was a really, really high octane anti-cannabis time, and it deeper rooted racism, and it deeper rooted the every single bad stigma that you can possibly even create for people who do any sort of substance. That I just wanted to underline the DEA's the all of the letters that were created to attack any sort of substance user. You could draw a direct line to President Nixon's administration.
Let's take a look at history, what was going on previously to that. You had the counterculture, like the hippie movement, like a lot of free thinking and reform. You had the civil rights movement.
Totally.
People of color standing up for themselves. And demanding change. Also, part of the hippie movement was in line with that. So they were on Richard Nixon's enemies list.
Yeah. So, and it was a crusade, and it was sweeping. And it was successful, unfortunately. And we're just crawling out of it now. We are just showing the world how insane these ideas can be, and how detrimental they can be to entire classes of people. And that's why this piece of information that has been uncovered is so it's kind of infuriating.
Absolutely.
Absolutely
infuriating.
Like you were saying, he did tape everything, every single thing he always had on tape, which why? I mean, I get why, but also, like, if you're gonna say dumb shit that's like gonna be uncovered later on, like that you're gonna eventually have to resign over, like, maybe stop taping yourself. So somebody was doing some research, right? And they just came across this piece of tape where he actually was like, weed isn't that bad, I guess. Right?
Yeah. Some unearthed recording says cannabis is, quote, not particularly dangerous. And also Nixon says, let me say, I know nothing about marijuana. Cool. I know it's not particularly dangerous. In other words, most of the kids are for legalizing it. But on the other hand, it's the wrong signal at the time. So,
okay.
Even though the wrong signal, is that like a dog whistle?
Today's probably. Yeah, probably. It's enraging because he knew that actually weed isn't that bad, and demonizing it is actually probably not the way to go. But since the other side wants it to be legal, I don't, and it was literally a reason to lock people up and to get them into trouble. And it just became even deeper of a counterculture. when it just didn't need to be that at all. And he didn't know anything about it, but he also said, what, 30 years in prison is ridiculous or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
30-year sentence for marijuana related offenses is quote unquote ridiculous. So yeah, that's
he's all he's right about that, but he said also he has no problem in that there should be an evaluation of penalties, and there should not be penalties that, like in Texas, people get 10 years for cannabis, and that's wrong. But at the same time, it was reclassified. It was then reclassified by the DEA as a dangerous drug.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly. So he, whatever his, and that's kind of still what I believe, like, well, I mean, even though Nixon went out of his way to just fucking lie, obviously Trump does too, but I just believe, he didn't know anything. He just knew that this was going to be the thing, the easiest way to make, the jail system an institution, like this all was a plan, and
it absolutely, it comes down to like dividing and division of people that's been going on for ages. You people, those long-haired freaky people, they and their ideas and their reform and their liberal thinking, we got to do something about this. And that was Nixon's thinking as the enemy. And those people of color with their civil rights ideas and equality, well, we got to do something about that too. And that was Nixon's idea as well. And the easiest way to do it was to demonize cannabis.
Yeah.
And other substances.
Behold, he didn't even give a shit about cannabis. Lo and behold, he, it's not like he had some deep moral belief about weed. He didn't even know anything about it. He was fucking square. So he just was like, no, I know nothing about this, and I'm gonna lie. Square. It's the same old story, and it's not necessarily anything that I'm shocked about, but it does make you kind of, you just got to remember what you're dealing with when you're dealing with somebody or a group of somebody's in an administration that wants to demonize a group of people or a drug like marijuana and make it illicit. It just shows you that they don't care. They don't really care about your safety or about your health or about what could happen to you in the future. They don't even they don't care about that. They just like they don't care about reform, just like Donald Trump doesn't care about people in prison for weed. It's all the same, and it's very, it's very hippie, new boss, same as the old boss. It's giving the who, but it is disappointing nonetheless. Doesn't make it any easier to swallow when you see it or hear it. This guy must have been so mad, the guy who discovered it, because he was a pro weed person, and he was like, the fuck. But yeah, but we'll always be true to you. You can always rely on the nerds to be consistent and on the right side of history. and there's a lot of crazy. There's a lot of stuff flying around in the ether and in the universe, and we really do just kind of want to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the truth, and we do what's right is important to us. So we joke and we get spirited, but we really just are here for safe access to weed and for everybody to have a chance. In the industry to consume it, to produce it, and to enjoy it. That's all we want.
Don't panic.
It's organic.